College at Roberts was really where I took off.
Whenever I was looking and searching for colleges, one of the big things that I knew I wanted to do was run both cross country and track. The Lord was tugging on my heart, and this is where I wanted to be, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to swing it financially.
We have great students who are attracted to come here to Roberts. They're smart, they're brilliant, and most of them just need a little helping hand.
I am a sophomore communication major, and I'd like to take that on someday to become a news broadcaster.
I am a 1985 graduate of Roberts Wesleyan College. It was just a very good time of my life. Met a lot of really good friends.
I was able to go to nationals with a cross country team twice.
When I think of Roberts, I think of an academic institution that is excellent at its core, whether it's in the classroom, the programs, the athletic fields. It's a life-changing experience when you come and get one of the most excellent educations that you could find.
That was something that I never would have been able to do or dream of if it wasn't for the athletic scholarship that I received from Roberts.
Coming to the board of Roberts really reinforced and really validated that need to make sure that I was doing all that I could do in terms of my resources to help give those students a chance so that they could have that kind of opportunity.
I think that's what B.T. Roberts was all about. B.T. Roberts was saying, here I am in this community, Lord, make this institution a servicing institution and use me to do that.
And that's what we are all here for, to make sure that we can help produce the next generation of terrific leaders for the region, for the country, and globally.
And when you're invested in a project and an institution that is on the upswing of energy and the possibilities are there, this is the time. This is the time to give.
To invest in our students, the next generation of leaders, how important it is to invest in this wonderful institution.
Today is the one day of giving. Now is your opportunity to donate to Roberts Wesleyan College and give back to both the community and the students. You have 24 hours to give now.
Good morning, and what a good morning it is. My name is Cheyenne, and I am a freshman communications major, and today I want to talk to you about why scholarships are important to me. I'll be completely honest with you. If it wasn't for scholarships, it would be very difficult for me to afford to attend a private college. In fact, if it wasn't for the academic scholarship that I received to attend Roberts, I would most likely be attending a state university or community college right now. And that's not a bad thing. Before I came to Roberts, I attended Genesee Community College, and I loved it there, but I dreamed of attending a private college. Right now, there are students out there touring schools who have that same dream, and I'm sure that there are many of you who sit in this room who also had that dream when you were applying to schools. I remember what the college application process felt like. On the one hand, it was exciting because I was going to be starting a new chapter in my life, but it was also terrifying because, let's face it, college is expensive, and I was about to become a broke college student. That's not exactly an equation for success. But I also remember what I felt like when I received my acceptance letters, and I saw that not only had I gotten into the schools of my dreams, but I had also received scholarships to attend them. And the thought that college was going to be just that much easier for me to afford was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I'm sure that there are many of you in this room who can relate to that feeling. And if you can, I want you to remember that feeling. I think as students, we have a misconception about where scholarships come from and how they work. I, for one, thought that scholarship money was just always there, and then it came from faceless figures with deep pockets. But the fact of the matter is, scholarship money isn't always there. Scholarships need to be renewed and sustained each year. And the people who give to scholarships aren't even exceptionally wealthy. Not financially anyways, but they are wealthy in compassion. The reason that you have scholarship is because of professors, faculty, friends, family, and former students who were generous enough to want to extend the same educational experience that they had, the same educational experience that you are having right now. Remember that feeling. As you go throughout your day today, I want to invite you to feel grateful. You may have already seen across campus that there are price tags and posters showing you the various ways in which the generosity of Roberts donors has manifested itself, in addition to scholarships. I want you to remember how you felt when you received your acceptance letter. I want you to remember how you felt during this educational experience. And I want to invite you to be thankful for the things that you have been given. And with that, I would like to introduce President Porterfield, who will introduce our guest speaker. So please join me in welcoming President Porterfield.
Good morning. Doug and Daryl, I'm going to need your help. I have a few free shirts to pass out. I know not everybody got them. So if you did not get a shirt, raise those hands. These guys are going to throw them and try to get to the back as well as in the front. Let's go. Get to the back, people. Come on. Like, walk back there and throw one. That's right. There is nothing like a free shirt. Okay, so today is a pretty important day for us, and Cheyenne just talked about that, what it means to get a scholarship. And here's the deal. She mentioned the tags that are around campus. I've heard that the rain and the wind has knocked many of them out, but they were supposed to look like this. And I want you to know that every seat you're sitting in right now, that every building you walk into, that every scholarship you receive, right? That everything that you are a part of at Roberts comes because there are people that believe in what we do. For 151 years now, right? Because we're in 2017. 151 years. And what they do is they pray about how to support us. So for those of you who follow me either on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you know that I do some traveling around. I just visited this last fall our oldest living alumni. She lives, her name is Mildred Folks. She lives in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia area. She will be 100 years old this June. I know, think about that. A little side note, when Doug and I were there a year ago, she got on the organ and played and we sang with her. I mean, she's like this hip woman. Our alumni live long, people. I'm telling you. That's good for us. I'm feeling good about that. But she, along with so many others that I have met and have the opportunity to talk to, ask me about what happens at Roberts. Ask me about the transformational experience that happens in the lives of students. And I get the opportunity to share about you, about what's going on here on campus, about how we are performing, whether it's musically or athletically, about what's happening academically, about our research. But what they really want to know is what's happening in your life. Is Roberts making a difference in your life? And honestly, that's why they're giving. So today is such an important day. We give $14 million in scholarships every year. $14 million goes to you in scholarships. Today is one of those days that helps us build this. So today, just so you know, in case you have friends, see that hashtag right there? Take pictures around campus. If you have this shirt on, do a selfie, do something. Tag This Is Our Day. If you know people that are looking to make a difference in the lives of students, call them. Every dollar up to $1,000 is doubled because of the generosity of a board member. Every dollar of $1,000 forward is tripled, right? So if somebody gives $1,000, it's $3,000. If you haven't done this, go on the website and follow the excitement at roberts.edu. There's a clicker, and it's counting down the time. And you can go and refresh that, and you can see when we headed over here today, I think we were already at over $50,000, already raised towards the 125 goal. So I say that to you because I want you to understand what it's about. There are people that believe in you. They believe in what Roberts is doing. And so what I would like to do before I introduce our speaker, and I practice because, you know, sometimes I think I know what I'm doing and I don't. But because I know that 98% of you received a scholarship. How many of you received a scholarship? That's right, 98% of you. I want you to stand up, and I'm going to ask you to yell thank you. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to say thank you. And I'm going to post this at the end of the day to our donors. Will you do that for me? Will you stand? And I'm going to scan the crowd. So, I need your hands raised and your voice loud and all that. And so it's going to work this way. 1, 2, 3, then we're going to say thank you. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. It is so important. I don't know about you, but sometimes in my life, I'm given a gift. And I have to remember to say thank you to those that give me that gift. Today, please use the hashtag, say thank you. Go through the day. You won't see all of these tags again because they blew away or got drippy from rain. But just know that this beautiful campus we have here today is from those that care for us. The scholarships you have are from those that care for you. So I want to take a moment and introduce our chapel speaker today. It is Kimberly Wiedefeld. How many of you have met Kimberly already? That's right. Kimberly is our new Vice President for Enrollment Management, and she has been a part of our team since August 2016. So she's just barely been here 6 months. 6 months, right? I know, and so many of you already know her. It's great. Before coming to Roberts, Kimberly served in different roles at Azusa Pacific University, beginning as a student intern in admissions and then moving on to being an admissions counselor after she graduated, associate director, and then director of undergraduate admissions. She also was a research specialist in enrollment management and university advancement, and finally senior director of undergraduate admissions before she joined the Roberts Wesleyan College team. She also served at Russ Reed Company as a senior account executive for World Vision sponsorship teams. And that's an important piece because she was serving in the community as well. Kimberly holds a bachelor's degree from Azusa Pacific University in Spanish language and literature with a minor in English, and a Master of Arts in Education and International Development from the University of London Institute of Education. If you've met Kimberly, you know that she is energetic and passionately committed to everything that she does. We have been so fortunate that when Roberts Wesleyan College began a search for a vice president for enrollment, which, by the way, took 2 years. Yeah, we just couldn't find the right person. We needed Kimberly. We were looking for somebody who could quickly, confidently, and adeptly transform our admissions processes and dynamically jumpstart our enrollment initiatives. And God brought us Kimberly. God brought us Kimberly. In just a few months, she has already brought about changes which have changed our trajectory in virtually every area of enrollment. Personally, I'm a big fan. I really am. She has brought so much, and her family, her husband John Mark, her children Joshua and Kate, who I know some of you even babysit for. By the way, she's always looking for good babysitters. I'll just do a little plug for you here. And the kids are great. But I want to introduce to you our Vice President for Enrollment Management, Kimberly Wiedefeld.
Thank you, Dina. Good morning. Am I a little bit ringy here? Okay, so we've been talking about gifts, and I want to ask you to think about for a moment, what's the most surprising or maybe unexpected gift you've ever been given, or maybe one of? Think about it for a moment, and then whoever you came to chapel with, I want you to share it with them. You know, kind of like a would you rather game. Would you rather have received this gift or that gift? Take a second. Okay, so I know we don't usually do it this way, but I really like the back and forth. And so can a few of you call out some of the surprising gifts you heard about or unexpected gifts? Money? I mean, that's a great unexpected gift. Amen, sister. Adoption. That's an awesome gift, a life-changing gift. What else? What else? Mary Kay. That's awesome. Okay, so you guys, I think probably for me, when I was thinking about this question, I remember in between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I have a summer birthday. I was turning 19, and there was a gift wrapped for me. And in our family, my parents always, put out a gift in the morning, and then we got to open it at the end of the day. And I was kind of excited to see it was in this significant box. And I opened it up, and it was a microwave. And on this side of things, that's a pretty cool gift. But I didn't classify myself in the ready to receive microwaves and other home electronics stage of life yet. Now, today I might say, oh, I would love a microwave. Our microwave at home, it kind of does the job, but you just never really know what 3 minutes on high is going to do, right? So, but I want to talk to you not about that microwave. I want to talk to you about another gift that I did want, but has turned out to be far more valuable than I'd ever known it would be. So I remember sitting at my kitchen table. It was a rainy day. Okay, I know in Rochester that might not be memorable to you, but this was in California, and it was memorable. Until this year, right, when they're getting all these floods. But it was January 2013, so just 4 years ago, right? And it was raining outside, and my 4 months new baby girl was sleeping upstairs. And I had a little snack of cranberry goat cheese. Anyone a Trader Joe's fan? They have this fabulous cranberry goat cheese with cinnamon. Okay, right. Okay, so cranberry goat cheese and some wheat thins. And here's the Instagram post to prove it. Let's see, how many days? 214 weeks ago. I was reading applications for the full tuition scholarship and looking for the top 40 finalists. And as I was reading stories, my eyes just started filling with tears. Have you ever had a moment when you are just completely overcome with gratitude? It can be a song, it can be a memory. Can you identify with one of those moments? I was having one of those moments. As I read the stories of these seniors in high school, I couldn't help but recall when I myself, 15 years prior to that, had written a similar application, had written my story. And I was suddenly aware of how transformational that scholarship that I ended up receiving, that was to my life. To this day, I've never met the women and the men who gave sacrificially so that I could go to this particular college. There have been many, many moments in which I would have liked to have said thank you. And I would have loved that opportunity. So let's rewind to my senior year in high school. Just felt you needed a visual, right? It's not 1998, my senior year of high school. Do the math, you know my age now, right? Let's just go ahead and take that out of the equation. So I've visited 11 colleges, not unlike many of you. I know you all visited a lot of colleges. I only applied to 3. That's a little different. I know today, on average, you guys applied to 14 colleges. But I had my heart set on this one particular college. It was a college a lot like Roberts, just on the West Coast. It was a place where I was going to be challenged academically. I was going to get to study in an honors program. I was going to get the opportunity to do research alongside faculty, have my work critiqued by men and women who were experts in their disciplines, but actually who cared about me as a person. I was going to get to study abroad, like that Guatemala trip you guys heard about. Was thinking about that type of a trip. I was going to learn more languages because I like words and language. I mean, Dina mentioned I studied Spanish and language and literature. But I'd also get to study the Bible in a way that I never had in public high school or even in Sunday school. This wasn't going to be felt boards anymore, right? Do they do that anymore? I don't know that you know felt boards. All right, talk to me about felt boards later. I can tell you what those are. But I'd get to learn more about who the person of Jesus was, and did that matter? Why did it matter? And it was a place where, also I think, this is International Women's Day, but one of the things that stood out to me about that place was it was a place where women were in leadership and were a part of the history and an integral part of the history. And it was a place where social justice and mission mattered, and they weren't separate from each other. It was unlike any place I'd ever visited before, and it was attractive to this 17-year-old. I really wanted to be there. But I knew what we could afford to pay for college, and I knew we couldn't afford to pay for this college. The only way this was going to work was through scholarship. So I remember I was standing in my laundry room. I was changing over a load from the washer to the dryer when I got a phone call and I answered it, and it was a familiar voice. It was one of the members of the selection committee, and she told me I had been chosen to receive this scholarship. And in my head, I quickly knew. I knew the exact amount it was going to take for me to be able to go to this school, and it was exactly the amount I needed to be able to make this college work. And like Cheyenne said, I could have gone to a community college, I could have gone to a state school, but that's not where my heart was. And this scholarship, doing the math, I knew, wow, right, that was going to make this possible. Now, I don't know if I screamed or I laughed or I cried or maybe I was too stunned to say a word. I really was very surprised because I had met the other guys and gals at the scholarship weekend, and they were so much more deserving and so much more well qualified than I was. So I felt like, wow, God, you did this. God, you did this for me. And somebody gave enough, and I don't know, out of plenty or out of poverty, they gave enough to the institution to make this possible for me and several other students. And I was overcome with joy and with gratitude. And I thought, do you know the psalm? The Lord has done great things for me, and the Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. And I personalized it to me. I was overcome with joy. I would revisit that thought, that feeling of thankfulness several times over the course of the 4 years I was there. Just the fact that somebody gave money willingly. And I thought, wouldn't it be so cool someday to be in a position to be able to do the same thing? Because, wow, this is going to be amazing for me to get to go to my dream college. For example, I thought of this when I was sitting in a class, and a faculty member, it was a Bible and ministry class, and a faculty member challenged my thinking. These beliefs that I had come to the college with, I really kind of thought I had myself and my church, we had the corner market on the way to practice Christianity. What I believed about worship, what I thought it should look like, what I believed about tongues and baptism and all of these pieces, I really thought arriving at the school that I had the corner market on that. And at the end of the class, having all of these great discussions and being challenged and even finding the biblical basis for the way other people did it, I sat back in my chair, I remember the last class thinking, I would never have had this experience if I weren't here. And the only reason I'm here and not at NAU was because I had this scholarship and somebody had listened to God's prompting to give. I had the same sense of gratitude when I sat in my college apartment. I was in Bowles, it's like Beeson or the townhomes, eating a grilled cheese sandwich. This is what we did on Tuesdays, grilled cheese sandwich on sourdough with tomato soup. And my 3 closest friends, Becky and Allie and Lissa, prayed fervently for each other. College was not always easy. Amen? Competing deadlines. It's like these faculty members didn't talk to each other. Didn't they know that I had a 20-page paper due the same day as I had a midterm, right? You're feeling it. You're in the middle of it. You know what I'm talking about. Things were happening at home that I couldn't be a part of. There were new relationships, or was this a relationship or was this a relationship? Those things. And we're all praying for each other fervently. And I know I hadn't really thought much before choosing a college about how important that dynamic would become for me. But these friendships had become treasured friendships. And in those moments, sitting around that table with our grilled cheese sandwiches, I was very acutely aware that this type of friendship might not happen at another place. Were I not here at this institution, if I were at a secular institution, were at a big college, it was this small Christian college that created an environment for these treasured friendships to be forged. I remember packing my bags to go to Kenya. I was going on a missions trip where we were going to work with Microenterprise Development, an organization, Empowering Lives International, in Kenya, just about 6 hours outside of, it was just outside of Eldoret, but 6 hours outside of Nairobi. And I was rereading a letter that one of our family friends had sent to me along with the gift that he sent to help support my missions team. And the words that were ringing in my head were, to whom much is given, much is expected. He had penned those words, but those weren't really his words originally, right? Those come from the gospel, and those are words that Jesus spoke to his disciples and to the crowds. And I remember thinking, I have been given a lot. Not just in the terms of being able to go on this trip to Kenya and to learn alongside Kenyans and to serve alongside Kenyans, but really to even have the opportunity to choose this and to be a part of this community. Or as I headed to class one day after working in the admissions office on the main thoroughfare, I got stopped by a faculty member who said, "Hey, I got something in my email this morning and it made me think of you." Dr. Shoemaker was tying together a conversation that we had had in his home a year and a half prior when he and his wife hosted us at their home, and we sat around this faculty member's table eating dinner and talking about how we were uniquely gifted, what that might mean for where God's at work in the world and where we can join him in his work, and why it mattered, and what our big dreams were. I mean, it's not much different than the discovery dinners that many of you freshmen and sophomores are participating in, sitting around a table with a faculty member and them hearing your heart. And I remember standing in the middle of that sidewalk thinking, where else in college do you go that a faculty member recalls a conversation they had with you a year and a half prior that connects the things that are most dear to my heart with the people he has connections with, and he wants to use those connections to help me grow? Man, I was thankful for the opportunity to be there at that college. Boy, I was thankful for the opportunity to be in an environment where the faculty knew my name, cared about me, cared about my dreams, and cared about how God might use me in the world. And seniors in the house? Anyone? You guys, this is less than 2 months away for you, right? Less than 2 months. Oh my goodness. Okay, does that feel stressful? Okay, get together with some grilled cheese and sourdough and, pray for each other. But I remember the sense of gratitude. It's these kinds of moments, right, that bring together reflection. But I remember sitting in these white folding chairs at the end of a warm, sunny May day, waiting to be called to walk across the platform and flip my tassel, finally, after all that work, and shake the president's hand. And I reflected on how much I had grown up, who I had become. A better version of the 17-year-old who had arrived 4 years earlier, and how differently I understood who God was and who God is. I had wrestled with the ideas of privilege. What does it mean to be in leadership? I didn't have things figured out, but I think I knew a little bit more 4 years later that I didn't have things figured out than I did when I was 17. I was so grateful for the academic opportunities I'd had with faculty members to present at conferences, the study abroad I did get to do, and the friendships and relationships I had formed. And I thought, you know what? Somewhere around the country, someone had given of their own means so that I, this crazy 17-year-old Arizona girl, originally from Arizona. Yes, the snow and winter is a lot here. But somebody had given sacrificially so I could be sitting there in those chairs reflecting on the amazing experience that I had, and I was so grateful. That would have been enough. I think that would have been enough. Add up the cost of the scholarship and the total, and that experience would even exceed the cost of the scholarship, right? But let's go back to the kitchen table and the applications and the sleeping baby, and remember the tears that were running down my face. Right? Back to my Instagram. So have you ever seen one of those movies? I was trying to think of ones that you might remember. For me, it's like Sliding Doors. But have you ever seen one of those movies where the main character is thinking back on her life? It's as if she can rewind back through events and choices and relationships, and each one of them so importantly impacts what will happen in the future. But she doesn't know it in the time. But in the present, reflecting back, she's able to see how impactful the whole process and all the choices and all the relationships were. Well, that was what was happening to me at that kitchen table. That sleeping baby upstairs was my precious baby, Kate. She was born on September 13th, 2012, and she was immediately whisked away. And this wasn't my first rodeo. I already had a baby. He was almost 2. I know they don't do that. They don't whisk babies away from you immediately. And as the neonatologist, with the kindest eyes I'd ever seen, approached my bedside, he told me she was sick. There was fluid in her lungs, her oxygen was low, and they were really worried about her heart. That didn't happen to me. It happened to other people. This wasn't my story. He also asked me if I'd ever heard of Down syndrome, and I said yes. And he said she showed some signs that she might have that extra copy of the 21st chromosome. But it wasn't because of that. It was because of her heart and her lungs that she had to be rushed away to another hospital that was more specialized than what this hospital could provide. So we, my husband and I, would spend 41 days in the neonatal intensive care unit with Kate. We would learn that she did have 2 holes in her heart. We would wonder if at any moment her heart was going to stop, and she'd be rushed by air to another hospital for open heart surgery. We were told, watch her lips. They use terms like dusky. Let us know if she starts to turn gray. That is not what I pictured for the first few days after my daughter's birth. So we would wait for her. We would pray for her. We would sit by her bedside and rock her and sing hymns to her, and we would pray that she one day would be well enough to take home. Okay, so again, what does this have to do with the scholarship, right? Well, during that time and into the first year of her life, because, by the way, we did get to take her home after those 41 days, and she didn't end up needing emergency open heart surgery. Our community of friends and colleagues from work, faculty, they showed up and supported us. They fed us. They took care of us and prayed for us. And you know what? Oddly, in this moment, our faith wasn't shaken, but instead it was strengthened. I've never experienced anything quite like it. But in fact, it had called together, this whole experience had called together a community of people that were being knit together as a net for us to fall into from the very, very beginning. So there, in January 2013, I was at home, I was in a rhythm, and my daughter was doing great, and my heart was doing great. And the very scholarship that had brought me to the Christian college community as a high school senior was on my table, and I can't help but see God's hand in it. And I was thinking once again, the psalm, that the Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. God used someone else's selfless gifts to bring me to this special place, and it taught me how to think, and it taught me how to interact and give me great relationships. So today it's our day, and it's the one day of giving, and I'm telling you this story because I actually think it's also your story. I don't think it's very different. People have made investments in your life, and I see it's 11:50, and I will wrap this up. But because of their gifts, you get to sit in ethics classes, you get to sit in chapel, and you get to wrestle with hard, hard things. And I think it's a great opportunity to say thank you. So let me pray real fast for you, and I'll dismiss you, I promise. Ready? Let's pray. Thank you, Jesus, for the gifts that you've given us. Thank you for the ways you are growing us and stretching us, and thank you for the men and the women who you are using to change our lives and to change the world, so that we can stand together and say, the Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. So go in peace, my friends, and just remember, the celebration continues in Garlock.